sixth grade and our virtual students. Let's have an awesome day today, and we'll just keep moving forward. Have a great day.
All right, here's what we got, guys. So again, for those who just joined us, we're still going to work through the Canvas. I'm going to have this here, everything you need. If you need modules, there it is for instruction. The assignments are over here on the left, and I would just wanted to show you real quick. This is our first assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and publish it so you can see, because we're going to create a logo. Now, as far as the expectations, I'm not going to review those. I'll post that. Anything that we have in this class will be posted on the homepage. You're going to use the assignments tab more than anything. So I'll probably replace this with the assignments tab, where before we've been using modules. The reason is because I got summative and I got formative. So if you would look at the homepage, the first thing that we'll do is look at our learning targets. Okay, so here's our learning target success criteria. Now, with all of these, you should be able to view these. They all are linked to the video. So, for example, this is the video that I showed yesterday that talks about our classroom. I'm not going to rewatch that. Okay, today is creating with goals. So we're going to start off with this video today. Please pay attention.
Goals. Develop students articulate and set personal learning goals. Develop strategies leveraging technology to achieve them, and reflect on the learning process itself to improve learning outcomes.
We gave the children a choice of goals that they would like to know at the end of the lesson. We also asked them to choose the things that they felt that they knew now, whether it was balancing the equation or just getting the question right.
One card is like if you could do it or not, and the other one is like if you want to set a goal. Miss Yadigar has been teaching us how to teach a classmate. There's a lot of kids that don't know how to do it. So like if the other kids know, they could help other kids.
For the follow-up to this lesson, we would have a reflection. What do you think you learned? I want them to share their knowledge with others, but also be able to choose goals. So then they know how they're doing throughout the week.
Okay, so
Students build networks and customize their.
we're talking about standards and things like that. So, what we're going to do today, those are our goals. With this, each one of these has a link, how to enter the classroom safely, how to exit, how to log in to Adobe. And these are this is where all your information is going to be. Okay, I can manipulate a color scheme, all that good stuff. But we're going to go ahead and walk through it. The word wall for today and what we've covered is typography. Now, not only am I going to put some on the word wall, I'm going to talk about what they actually mean. To me, a word wall is only as good as, what you see is as far as the word itself. So we're going to talk about typography today. So let's go ahead and go with it.
Typography. It's everywhere we look. In the books we read, on the websites we visit, even in everyday life, on street signs, bumper stickers, and product packaging. Simply put, typography is the style or appearance of text. It can also refer to the art of working with text, something you probably do all the time if you create documents or other projects for work, school, or yourself. Typography can be an intimidating subject, but it doesn't have to be. You only need to know a little to make a big difference in the stuff you do every day. So let's get started. First, some common types of fonts and what you need to know about them. Serif fonts have little strokes called serifs attached to the main part of the letter. Because of their classic look, they're a good choice for more traditional projects. They're also common in print publications, like magazines and newspapers. Sans serif fonts don't have that extra stroke, hence the name, which is French for without serif. This style is considered more clean and modern than serif fonts. Also, it tends to be easier to read on computer screens, including smartphones and tablets. Display fonts come in many different styles, like script, black letter, all caps, and just plain fancy. Because of their decorative nature, display fonts are best for small amounts of text. For example, titles and headers, and more graphic-heavy designs. In a way, fonts have their own language. They all have something to say beyond the words on the page. They can come across as casual or neutral, exotic or graphic. That's why it's important to think about your message and pick a font that fits. Some fonts come with extra baggage, like Comic Sans, Curls, Papyrus, and many more. There's nothing particularly wrong with these fonts. They just have a certain reputation for being outdated and overused. If you find yourself tempted by them, think twice and consider using something else. There are many fonts with a similar look and feel that are less likely to detract from your message. When deciding which fonts to use, less is more. It's best to limit yourself to 1 or 2 per project. If you need more contrast, try repeating one of your fonts in a different size, weight, or style. This trick is practically foolproof for creating interesting combinations that work. You've probably heard the saying, opposites attract. Well, the same is true for fonts. Don't be afraid to combine font styles that are different but complementary, like sans serif with serif, short with tall, or decorative with simple. This can be challenging at first, but don't despair. Look to other designs for inspiration, and soon you'll get the hang of it. Maybe you've heard terms like kerning, leading, tracking, and hierarchy. For those with more experience, these concepts are essential for creating professional-looking designs. As a beginner, you don't need to know everything about these terms, just enough to inform your work and help you talk about design with more confidence. Hierarchy is used to guide the reader's eye to whatever is most important. In other words, it shows them where to begin and where to go next, using different levels of emphasis. Establishing hierarchy is simple. Just decide which elements you want the reader to notice first, then make them stand out. High-level items are usually larger, bolder, or different in some way. Remember to keep it simple and stick to just a few complementary styles. Leading is the space between lines of text, also known as line spacing. If you're not sure how much line spacing be.
Okay, so so as we go through this, there's a few things that we're going to cover. That's going to be something else that I'm going to add on the word wall. We're going to call that the space between texts. Leading is the space between texts. Now, what I'm going to do, this will help you. This right here, I'm going to show you this process as well. If I go to share this, I'm going to copy this. That way, I'm going to have it start at 4:39. So if you all click on this link right here, then it will show you where if I click on it, it'll go straight to that part right there.
Spacing to use,
See how
don't
it
fret.
works? Okay, the line spacing between text, so that you know that way, if you need to go back and review these things, it'll go straight to where you want them to be.
Default is usually fine. The goal is to make your text as comfortable to read as possible. Too much or too little spacing can make things unpleasant for the reader. Tracking is the overall space between characters, sometimes called character spacing. Most programs let you condense or expand this depending on your needs. In some designs, you might adjust your tracking to create a certain artistic effect. It can also help you fix fonts that are poorly spaced to begin with. Kerning is the space between specific characters. Unlike tracking, it varies over the course of the word because
Okay, so let's go back and review that. What is that? That's also part of our word wall.
unlike tracking, it varies over the course.
And if you see the closed caption that I have turned on, see what it says? It says kerning is spaces between specific characters. So for example, K and E, R and N, I and N. So why are we covering all this? Because when we do logos, this is going to make a big difference. This is going to make a big difference. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to share it. I'm going to start at 512 or 520, go back to word wall. And let's duplicate the word wall. Let me get rid of these because as we work on them, wait, I'm sorry about that. Let me fix that. And what did we say it was? Space between certain characters. Let me make sure I got it saved there. Space between specific characters. Now, I just totally misspelled that. You do not have to type this. Okay, why? Because I've got it. All you got to do is review it. Okay, so again, if I click on that, go straight to that, and there it is. And I think I misspelled that. Let me make sure. Yeah, I did. I just misspelled that. There we go. All right, so now we're going to go back to that. Okay.
Unlike tracking, it varies over the course of the word because each letter fits together differently. Some fonts have what we call bad kerning, making certain letters look improperly spaced. If a font you're using has bad kerning, it's best to cut your losses and choose something else. Well-crafted text can mean the difference between an ordinary project and an extraordinary project, even if you're just getting started with design. All it takes is an interest in typography, and you'll start to notice more, see more, and be able to do more in your own work. We hope you enjoy.
All right, so that's that. So we're gonna cover quite a few things when we do different projects per se. So let's go back to our learning target. So we did talk about positive space and let's negative space. So real quick, I'm not gonna make you watch this whole thing, but I wanted you all to see the
Grammar and
so
spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire.
So
today we're going to be answering the question for the negative space.
Positive space is the area of interest. Negative space is the space around it. Okay. Positive space is the area of interest. Okay. Negative space is the area around the positive space. Okay. So you all need it. We reviewed that yesterday. Now, this is a big one. Digital citizenship. We are going to watch this. This is important.
Students cultivate and manage their digital identity and reputation and are aware of the permanence of their actions in the digital world.
We did what we call restorative justice circle, and it's basically a form of sharing our feelings and our ideas. I've connected it to digital citizenship. We talked about how our actions have consequences. So when you hurt somebody online, it stays there. You know, it could stay there forever.
It's important because in real life you get to talk to them face to face, and on the computer you're just facing a screen. But they're still saying what they want to say on a device.
One thing that we can do is be appropriate online. That would be a good rule, right? The students went online and they wrote their actual rule that they come up with to protect their digital footprint. And then, of course, then we moved into sharing and liking and replying to other people's comments. Practice being a good digital citizen and say something nice about their rule. I mean, I think from last year, a lot of them already knew, like, no, Ms. Garcia, I'll never give my name. I don't post pictures. When I started teaching, I never thought I would be teaching things like this. But I mean, we are teaching the leaders of the world, but I'm glad I'm part of it.
Okay, so when we talk about digital literacy, all right, all right, so let's go ahead and do a Q&A right here. Let's talk about it in the chat. Okay, what's your all's take on digital literacy? So your question that you're going to answer is, and let me go to my classroom screen. Here's the question you are going to answer right here, okay? And I'm going to make it big. Why is digital literacy important when using technology? Okay, go. Y'all answer that real quick. Why is using, let me, why is that important? Why is it important? Go. And I'm gonna make that larger. Okay. Okay, go. Answer, please. Why is using digital literacy important when using technology? Please answer the question. Okay. All right. So, all right. There's one. There's a student response. Good deal. For kids to learn safety internet skills. Good deal. There's another one. Oops, same one. Sorry about that. Okay, there's another one. Good deal. Y'all got a lot of good responses here. Okay, so there's some, keep going. You can use it as reminders later in life. Now, here's something you got to keep in mind. Everything you put on the internet, everything you do stays with you. Okay. A lot of times they don't even look at resumes anymore. They look at the what you put on the internet. Okay. So just be aware of that. All right. Who else? Cassidy, what do you got? I need everybody to answer, please. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all a timer. Okay. And I'm going to have you answer it. Okay. You've got we'll say 3 minutes because we're going to get started on this Adobe. We're going to get started on this thing today. We're going to start on. So you got that much time to answer that question. Okay. You got that much time to answer that question. Okay, so we got about 2 minutes. Let's see what else we got for kids to understand the things, what can happen online. Yes, that's good. Good job, Antonio. Appreciate you. Anything else? Anybody else? I need everybody to comment. You got a minute 42. Let's go. Minute 42. $54 seconds. That's a good one. Learning privacy settings, so you can get a job later in life. That is correct. So 18 seconds, and then we're going to move on. Finish it up, please. All right, so we're going to finish that up. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. So what I need you all to do, this is where we're at today. Let's go back to this. Let's close that out. Let's look at our, so this is our knowledge constructor. Here we go.
Students plan and employ effective research strategies to locate information and other resources for their intellectual or creative pursuits.
So in this project, our public speaking students are working with elementary students, helping them form their persuasive essays.
How are you doing today?
So we had a face-to-face technology with the students, and they were able to see them in real time and collaborate with them.
The high school students taught them when they were writing their persuasive speech, they have to have their 3 main topics. Well, you have to have facts to back those topics up. A lot of times they want to give their opinion. So one of the key parts that I was really impressed with how the high school students handled what's relevant research and how to find research that's important to your point, and not just look for research that's going to support your idea, but you also have to find that research that's going to go against your idea, because this was persuasive and they have to be prepared for the rebuttals. They need to understand that it's not as simple as punching in the word and everything that comes up is fact. There's a whole world full of answers to any question, and the more accurate their research is, the more questions they're going to have, and questions equal learning.
Okay, so you got that process, and then the last one is, we talked about leading. So here's what I want everybody to do. We're getting ready to get started. So today, I need everybody to log into your Adobe Spark. Okay, log into your Adobe Spark. I'm going to walk you through it. Go to Google, type in Adobe Spark, click on it, and you should be able to log in. Okay, if you don't know how to log in, remember the heads up on it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this here. And we talked about go to Google. Okay, and that's pretty much in a nutshell. All right. So I'm gonna kind of give you all the short version here. Basically, if you want to go in here, this is where our assignments are. This is where we're going to get everything to create a logo. This is where you're going to put it. Okay, this is how we're going to create the Adobe logo. All right. I'm going to fast forward this process till we get to the process here and how we're going to actually design it. Okay? Address, okay, which is also your email address. So I just wanted to show you really quick one of the logos that we were messing with last year and designing. Now, what this could be changed in a multitude of ways. You need to use something that is connected to your name. Like, for example, I've got an M that's regarding my last name. One cool thing about this is I would not want to put the color scheme on a design because it would probably take away from it. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go to the colors. I can change the color schemes. I can make the color schemes white. I can do anything I want to do with it. It's got a lot of different things built in right there in Adobe Spark. If I want to just go straight here, I can, but the problem is I got to make sure that I can see the GUIRE because this is my logo, okay, or one of my logos, if you will. So here's how we're going to start it, okay? You want to hit the plus sign, okay, to start any project. You can view all right? One thing that I like to do, they got, as it says here, 22,000 Spark templates. So since we're doing a logo, let's type in logo and see what's there, okay? The great thing about this is Fayette County has purchased an Adobe license for all students and teachers, so we might as well use it. So if you wanted to use this, let's look at Trainer, okay? Now, this is just a stock logo that they've created. So we're going to now, just as a process, so we're going to be in there. We're going to go in there to create a logo. What I would recommend when you start your logo, you're going to, so here's the starting of the logo. You're going to click the plus sign. You're going to go to custom size graphic. You're going to click on popular. You're going to go to square. Okay. And then next. Now you got a background there. And then this is how you're going to start it. Okay. You want it to be square. You want it to be, you know, just a white background, if you will. Okay. Quick. All right. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to start creating your logo. Now, one thing that we talked about, all the kerning, the leading, all the stuff that we did, right now we don't want a background. You know, you can do a design, but I would recommend just going to text and just kind of playing with the text. So for example, let's go to season sale. All right, you got to decide on how you want to do your logo. So remember, this is a logo that you're going to create, something you're going to use, something that's going to be original. So let me put JM as in Jeremy McGuire. All right. So I'm going to do that right there. I'm going to make it larger. And then I'm going to go on there and make it like a, you know, like a black. Okay. Now I want to show you something. This right here, these numbers, and that's also going to our learning target. That is called a hex color. Okay. That is called a hex color. All right, the hex color basically is the numbers right there. So for example, Crawford green, if I went in here and I wanted Crawford green, then the Crawford green color is 00B 050. And by doing that, that's actually the Crawford green that we use on shirts, the Crawford green that we use pretty much on everything, guys. So the next step is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose the font that I want. Now, I want these logos to really be influencing to, like, when you create something, you're going to hold it at the bottom. Like, for example, let's say if that was my logo and I'm done with it, you would put it at the bottom of everything, but that's not going to be my logo. I'm going to basically come in here and I'm going to mess around with it a little bit. So I'm going to do a J. I'm going to make it real big so I can kind of see how to create and how to edit. Okay. Now, using your shortcuts, okay? And again, I'm going to go back to my word wall and my shortcuts. Actually, I might have, as we cover a shortcut, I'm just going to say, I just call them Chromebook shortcuts. Okay, Chromebook shortcuts. So the first one is that we're going to talk about is Control D is duplicate. As I cover it, then I'm going to use it. Okay, and this is a document that's still accessible in the canvas. Okay, so Control D. So I'm going to hit Control D. If you're using a Mac, it's Command D. Okay, so what I'm going to do there is I'm going to change that to an M. And the reason I duplicate it is because I want it to be the exact same size. Okay, now, obviously, I don't want to keep it like that. I don't want to keep it like that. Okay, so I'm going to have to modify my J. I'm going to have to modify my M so they will match. Now, here's the cool thing about it. As I modify the M, I can come up here. You see how there's a line right there where it kind of makes it where it fits. So I want to try to make it fit. So now it fits. So by hitting the shift key, and the arrow key, I can go fast or slow. If I just hit the arrow key, now I can connect it. Okay. Now I can connect it. Now, here's a cool thing. Let me show you this. This is using Adobe Spark. Okay. Here's another shortcut. We're going to say Control A is select all. Okay, Control A is select all. So I'm going to hit Control A and it selects everything. Okay, it selects everything, right? Now, yes, that's right. It's Control. So we'll go ahead and throw that in there. Thank you very much. Control Z is undo. If you make a mistake, Control Z is undo. There's all kinds, Control Y is redo, all that cool stuff. So, like Control Z, Control Y, we'll go ahead and put that in there. If you undo, and I'm going to fix this. All right. We'll just say redo. All right. So now what we're going to do is, so let's say that's the start of my logo. Now let's have some fun with it. Let's have some fun with it. I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate that. Let's make that smaller. Okay. Oops. Control Z, undo. I didn't mean to. Okay. I'm going to drop that J right there in the middle. I'm going to redo that. I'm going to make it a lowercase e, and I'm going to move it up, right? Move it up. And I want to make it smaller because I'm going to spell my first name inside that logo. Now, here's the cool thing. We talk about positive, negative space, right? Talk about positive, negative space. So let's define this thing. Let's define it as so I want to make that J. Let's go in and make that a color. Let's go, let's see, we can do a shape around it. So text color. It's not giving me, let me do a text color. I'm not sure why. Here, let me see if I can do this here. So this is a way we can do some different things. So I'll keep it like that. So now I got the E, I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate. And then I'm going to spell my name inside the J. Okay. Use the J as my first name, to represent that. E-R-E. Okay, M-Y. Now, again, we're just kind of messing around with the process. I got to make sure that these all represent what I want them to represent based on what we talked about today. If you notice, that M is a little bit larger, but M's are larger. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like that because the scale is the same. And then Control D to duplicate. And Y. Okay, now I'm going to have to reshape that a little bit. There you go. Now that spells my name. So here's a cool thing. All right. So you have all that, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the J to fit where I want that. Okay. And then I'm going to move the M. Now I might leave the M. I might want to fit that right here. Okay. Now that actually looks better. So what you're going to start doing, but the thing is, you got to make sure, like, you know, you see this right here. You don't want that corner sticking out. That doesn't look good. You got to make sure that you all and you can do it all into Adobe. Okay. And if I want to go in here and mess with my color scheme, you can just mess with your color scheme. Okay. Mess with it like however you want. Or if you want a decorative scheme, or, you know, you can choose schemes that are already built for you. You know what I mean? Now, I will say this. You need to make sure that your logo is not something that will stand out and overtake the design itself. Okay. So now I'm going to go in there and I'm going to design my last name. Oops. What did I do to make when I undo? I need to hit Control Z and Control Z again. Now I'm hitting Control D, and then I'm going to move this over. Here we go. I want it to be the exact same size. So now let me show you something. See where I'm trying to click on the E, but it won't allow me to. So what I'm going to have to do is it's called layer order. Okay. I'm going to have to move it to where I can access like I put move to bottom. Okay. Now the reason I'm going to undo, I'll show you again. I clicked on that trying to get to the E, but it wouldn't let me because the M is over top of the E. I'm going to click on my layer order, move to bottom. Okay. Therefore I can click on that. So now I'm going to spell the rest of my name out. Right. So there's C, Control D is duplicate. I'm going to put a G. And the way I spell my name is with an uppercase G. So I'm going to keep with that same technique there. I'm going to Control D because that's lowercase. So I'm just trying to make my life easy on myself here. MC G U I R E. U. Okay, and let's make sure it touches. I want it to touch. Control D. I. And then I'm going to use this R because it's already done, right? R. So we're working smarter, not harder. So since I already had an R done, I'm just going to duplicate it, right? Okay, so I got that. And then I'm going to take that E, duplicate that E, bring it over here, and see how that line is right there. It's going to help me line it up. Okay, there it is. Okay, and then I'm going to come here. I'm going to go ahead and make these touch like the other one. Just because that's how the design is. Because when you look at your standards, guys, this is the standard that I want you to focus on. You go back to our learning targets, okay, and our success criteria and all that great stuff, okay. You know, it says I can manipulate color scheme. We've not done that yet, you know. But if we look at certain things, let me go back here real quick. Give me a second, guys. On your knowledge constructor, let's go back and review.
Students plan and employ effective research strategies to locate information and other resources for their intellectual or creative pursuit.
Okay, it says students plan to employ effective research. Now we're researching what? Processes on Adobe Spark. Okay, you locate information, you're doing your own thing. Okay, this is your intellectual pursuit. This is your intellectual property. This is your intellectual property, and you're making a logo to promote your intellectual property. Okay, so that being said, then from there to complete the logo, and here's the thing, you can download a bunch of them. You can download a bunch of them. I would recommend going in and creating a folder in your Google Drive. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my Google Drive for, I'm going to go to class documents, and let's go ahead and make a 4th 9 weeks. So I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm just going to call it logo, examples. I'm going to put my name on it. Okay. So that's where I'm going to store it. That's where I'm going to keep my logos, right? I'm going to open that up, and then let's go to my logo. Let's say I'm done with it. I'm going to click download, and then I'm going to make it. It's going to be a PNG, not a JPEG. It's got to be a PNG. Then you start the download. I will make it a transparent PNG. Okay. And then it's going to download. Then from there, once it downloads, I'm going to put it in that folder. Now, if you notice, it called it My Post instead of naming it. Well, I would recommend, and the reason, see how you can see through it? That's what you want. That's what you want right there. Make sure you go up here and label it. So I'm going to call this JM Logo by Mr. McGuire. And I'm going to put the date. Today is 3/9/2021. Okay. Now I'm going to re-download it. That way, when I download it, it'll download with the name. And I'm going to go here. And then when I put it in my folder, now you're going to do several of these. Now let me show you how it works. I'm going to delete that one. Okay. Move that to trash. I'm going to go back to my logo here. I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go into my colors, and I'm going to change my colors a little bit. Oh, there's a white one. So let's look at that. I'm going to download that one. But before I do that, let's go ahead, and you want, every time you make a change, I'll just call it white and gray, right? Call it white and gray. Then you download it. Because you're going to do a whole lot of different things with your logos, and then I'm going to put it in that folder, right? So there it is, white and gray. And then I'm going to go back in there and do it again. So you can go in there and mess with it. The cool thing about it is you'll use these at some point, guys. You can put this on a document, okay? You can put it on a document. So let's show you how we can apply this to a document. So there's the document, right? And it's a PNG file. I'm going to go in here, and let me go to my docs here, and let's see what I can put it on. Let's say you're doing a project for another class, and you go to your Google Docs, and let's say, let me go to, let's see what I've done here. Okay, so there's a Google Doc right there, right? And I want to put it in there. I'm going to go insert image from Drive, because I already put it in my Drive. All right, it should be under recents, and that's my pictures. So there it is right there. I'm going to put it on my document at the top like that. So instead of having to sign it like you always do, you could use your logo as a part of the process. Now let me show you something else. That's really cool. But what I like about it is if you're doing a presentation and you want to get the credit for what you're doing, okay. So let's say this is a presentation. I'm going to go insert image. And again, you put them in your Google Drive. I'm going to go to recents. And remember, they're PNGs. It's the reason you want it to be a PNG because you can see through it. See how that works? Right there. And I'm going to drop it right there at the bottom of every one of my presentations. See how that works? So if I wanted to do a video, let me show you how this works. So we're doing video with class and all that great stuff. And we're going to do a 6th grade news broadcast. So let me go back to my most recent project, and this is something we're doing for, let's go back to the February 5th news broadcast. Okay. And and let's say we did like the one where I did the Crawford counselors. I said, thank you, Crawford counselors. Okay. And I wanted to do a logo for that. So let me go in here and let me drop that logo in right there. Okay. And this is the whole process of how you can brand yourself and the whole reason behind what we're doing. Okay. So that's done. I'm going to put that right there in my editing program. I'm going to make it smaller and I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to extend it all the way throughout the whole project. See how that works? And it's transparent. Okay. It's a PNG, so you can still see what's behind the J and the M. So there's a reason why you do what you do. And this is obviously
Counselors Week, and I just wanted to give
From
all
the
of our
expos.
counselors at CMS a big shout out and a big thumbs up, and thank you all for everything you do. So counselors, this is your week. Enjoy, and again, thank you for all your hard
you
work
just
and
want to
everything
barely
you
be able to see. You see how you can see it?
Just want to give a quick shout out to our amazing counselors at CMS, Miss Claycomb, Miss Betty Adams, and Miss Blackman. You all are rock stars. Y'all don't get enough credit for everything you do behind the scenes for not only us, but our students. So we really appreciate you. Hope you have a great week. Enjoy it.
Dear counselors, this message comes from snowy tundra of Chicago. I just want to say thank you for all you do. I know this year has been especially difficult and different, and you've done an exceedingly great job. And all of us on the Expos team think you're awesome and appreciate what you do for us on a daily basis. Peace.
Just wanted to make a shout out to the counselors we have, the Counselor Appreciation Week. I appreciate all that you all do. You all are the catalyst to communication with families. And whenever things in virtual learning are going astray, you all let us know and check out students. And you also let us know if there's a technical issue that they may be having, so we can check in with them and see if they have opportunities to be successful. We appreciate everything you do. And happy Counselor Appreciation Week.
Hey guys, counselors for Crawford. This is Mr. McGuire. Just want to give you a shout out. I just want to say I appreciate everything you all done. Being my fourth year here, I've seen where you all have just put the hours in. And, you burn the candle at both ends with schedules and changing schedules and testing. And there's just so many hats that you all wear. And we just, as Expos, wanted to say we thank you and we appreciate you. And whenever you get tired or down, pop this video in and kind of have a laugh. Again, the Expos appreciate you, and we hope you had a great week and continue to have a good rest of the year. See y'all.
Okay, so that being said, guys, that's the process of the whole demonstration, basically, and that's the reason why we do what we do. So you want to create logos. Don't forget, look at your word wall, and again, they're all there. So I appreciate your all work ethic. Please make sure that you do your logo. We'll work on it. So the next couple of days are going to be work days. I'm going to show up and we're going to work together. Make sure that you all review your word wall and everything else. Appreciate you. And I'll see you all tomorrow, guys.